All right, for this next lesson, we're going to learn how to create chords or create harmony from scales. I told you that scales and key are almost the same thing, and that melodies are made of notes that come from the scale, but chords also come from notes in the scale. And here's how we do it. I'm going to start by just drawing a C major scale on the whiteboard. Just like we had before. This time, what we're going to do is we're going to build what's called a triad on top of each scale degree. So, a triad is pretty simple. All it is just three notes stacked in thirds. So if you look over here at my piano, if I play the note C and I go to the third note, 1, 2, 3, then I'll be playing an E. And if I go up another 3 notes, I would end up on the note G. So the first note, the tonic note, is a C, the third note is E, and the fifth note is G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 3, 5. On the piano, it's really easy to do. I'm just going to rest my fingers on the keyboard with one finger for every key. And then I'm going to play thumb, middle finger, and pinky, like that. And sometimes I call this the claw. So in class, I probably call this thing the claw. So there we go. That's a C chord because I'm starting with my thumb on the C, and I'm just playing that shape. So on the whiteboard here, we can see we've got the C on the bottom, and then I built a little snowman with notes stacked in thirds. So you've got C, E, and G. And if I take that shape and I literally just pick up my hand and move it to the right and put my thumb on a D, I have to play the next chord in the scale. Looks like this. Get that bigger. So this is going to be a D chord. And if I just keep following that pattern of moving to the right, thumb on the E, I'm going to play an E chord. So I'm going to finish these up here. And you can see the pattern, right? Oops. All I'm doing is just stacking notes in thirds, like a snowman, on top of each scale degree, so that we get this. And those are all of the chords that come from the C major scale. Okay, so for right now, I'm just calling this a C chord, I'm calling this a D chord. But there's a little bit more to it in that this first chord, the C chord, is considered a major chord. And it's called a major chord because the distance between the two bottom notes is a major third. And I actually don't want to get into why that's the case. I'm just going to ask you to take my word for it. So the distance from C to E is a major third. If you want, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps away. Root to third is a major third, and then we've got a fifth on the top. We call that a major triad or major chord. So when I write my chord symbol over here on the whiteboard, I can do it two different ways. I can call it the 1 because it's the first chord in the key, or I can call it C. The uppercase Roman numeral tells us that it's a major chord, and writing the C with nothing else after it tells us also that it's a major chord. We assume it's major. The next chord is a little different. You can probably hear the difference. This one has a, right, it doesn't have that same happy sound that the C major chord had. So let's look at the distance from root to third. It's 1, 2, 3 half steps away. 3 half steps. So this has a minor third on the bottom and the fifth on the top. Right? This one had a major third and a fifth. This one has a minor third and a fifth. So we call that type of chord a minor chord. So the 2, Roman numeral 2, I'm going to go lowercase because it's a minor chord. And if I write it up above, we call it D with the minus sign, which means D minor. If I fill out the rest of this chart, it looks like this. E minor, F major, the 5, doggone it. There we go. 5 is G major, 6 is A minor, the 7 is something else, we call it B, diminished, and then the end chord is the same as the first one, so it's C major again. All right, so we have 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7, this chord is a little bit different because the distance from here to here is a minor third, but also the distance from here to here is different. It's not a fifth, it's less than a fifth. So it's got a minor third and what we would call a diminished fifth. So the B chord in the key of C, the 7 chord, is actually a diminished chord. It's different than all the other chords in the key. And it has kind of a unique sound. It sounds kind of mysterious. So it's just good to remember that these chords that come from just the major scale each have a way of emoting and conveying a sense of sadness or happiness, or in the case of the diminished chord, maybe a mysterious sound. And we can use that to our advantage when we're writing music.